Some players leave the NBA at the top of their game, still in their prime, still dominating, and then they're gone. Fans are left wondering, why would he walk away now? Injuries, burnout, mental pressure, bad team situations, or sometimes just life itself, push even the greatest out of the league before their time. Today, we're diving deep into the untold reasons why some NBA superstars retire too early, and what really goes on behind that decision. In the NBA, longevity is a badge of honor. Players like LeBron James and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar have played deep into their late 30s and beyond. But for every Iron Man, there's a story of a player who left too soon, when fans still wanted more. Early retirements shock the world because we see greatness fading too early. But behind every goodbye, there's a story. A mix of pain, exhaustion, and sometimes quiet acceptance that the game they love is no longer theirs. Let's break down the 10 biggest reasons NBA superstars retire before their time, and the real examples behind them. Chronic injuries, the most obvious and most tragic reason. Basketball is brutal on the body. The nonstop running, jumping, and pounding wears down joints and tendons faster than most people realize. Take Brandon Roy. In his prime, he was an all-NBA guard, a superstar in Portland. But chronic knee problems, bone-on-bone pain, forced him to retire at just 27. Doctors said he could barely walk without pain, let alone play. The same fate hit players like Tracy McGrady and Grant Hill early in their careers. Injuries don't just end seasons, they end dreams, mental and emotional burnout. Superstardom looks glamorous, but behind the cameras, it's mentally exhausting. Constant pressure, media scrutiny, and expectations from fans can crush even the strongest athletes. Ben Wallace, one of the best defenders of his era, once admitted that the grind of travel, interviews, and public pressure wore him down more than the games themselves. And in modern times, players like Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love have spoken openly about mental health challenges. For some, the emotional toll is heavier than any physical injury. Toxic team environments. Sometimes it's not the game that drives a player away, it's the people around it. Bad management, locker room drama, or front office politics can make even a passionate player lose love for basketball. Latrell Sprewell, despite being a star, found himself clashing with coaches and management and eventually left the league rather than take a contract he felt was disrespectful. When the joy of playing disappears, retirement can feel like the only escape. Off-court scandals or image issues. In a league that thrives on image, off-court controversies can destroy careers overnight. Players like Gilbert Arenas, who brought a gun into the locker room, saw their reputations collapse instantly. Allen Iverson, despite being an all-time great, faced constant criticism and tension with teams due to his image and off-court behavior. Sometimes it's not about ability, it's about perception. Once that's gone, teams stop calling. Financial stability and early success. Believe it or not, some players retire early simply because they can. They've made their money, built a legacy, and want to enjoy life beyond basketball. Michael Jordan shocked the world when he retired the first time at 30. He wasn't injured, he wasn't struggling. He just wanted something different. Similarly, David Robinson left the game after winning a championship because he wanted to focus on family and faith. When success meets satisfaction, walking away becomes easier. Lack of opportunity or role reduction. Imagine being a superstar and suddenly no team wants to give you minutes. It happens more often than fans think. Carmelo Anthony faced this late in his career. Still capable of scoring 15 to 20 points a night, yet many teams saw him as too big a personality for a bench role. For some veterans, sitting on the bench isn't retirement. It's humiliation. When pride and reduced opportunity clash, some stars simply step away rather than fade quietly. 7. Life after basketball. For some players, basketball isn't the end game, it's a launch pad. Baron Davis moved into film production. Chris Bosh, after blood clots ended his career, became an entrepreneur and public speaker. Others move into coaching, business, or media. Once they find a new purpose on something that gives them the same drive, continuing to play often feels unnecessary. Retirement becomes a transition, not a tragedy. Internal conflict, love versus pain. The hardest retirements aren't caused by injury or money. They come from within. Players who still love the game but can't play it the way they used to often face unbearable frustration. Derrick Rose once described it perfectly. "My mind says yes, but my body says no." That inner war, I'm wanting to keep going but knowing you can't, has ended more careers than fans ever see. Lack of recognition or respect. Imagine giving everything to the game and still being overlooked. Some players walk away because they feel disrespected by teams, media, or even fans. Stephon Marbury found himself blacklisted from the NBA despite his talent, leading him to reinvent his career in China. He became a legend there, but his early NBA exit showed how quickly perception can end opportunity. When respect disappears, motivation often follows. 10. Personal loss or family priorities. Sometimes the reason is deeply human. Players lose parents, have children, or simply realize they've missed too much of real life. Andrew Bynum retired young after struggling with injuries and motivation. Chris Common left to focus on family and business. Even Leandro Barbosa admitted he left because he couldn't balance basketball with personal life anymore. For some, stepping away isn't quitting, it's choosing peace. Losing passion for the game. Some players simply fall out of love with basketball. The game becomes a job instead of a passion. The league becomes routine instead of exciting. When the joy fades, so does the desire to continue. Superstars who once lived for competition can suddenly feel disconnected from the sport they dominated. Potential health risks that become too dangerous. Sometimes retirement is a medical decision. Players are warned about long-term health risks: heart conditions, knee deterioration, nerve issues, or concussions. Continuing to play could lead to permanent damage. Even if a player wants to stay, doctors and medical staff strongly recommend stepping away. Safety becomes more important than superstardom. A changing league that no longer fits their style. The NBA evolves constantly. Some superstars retire early because the game shifts away from their strengths. Pace and space offenses, switching defenses, analytics-driven roles, and three-point dominance can push older play styles into irrelevance. Rather than fight a league that no longer suits them, players choose to leave on their own terms. Contract and financial security. Some players retire early knowing they have already secured financial stability. A lucrative career, endorsements, and wise investments can remove the need to continue playing purely for money. Lifestyle changes. The life of an NBA superstar involves constant travel, public exposure, and rigid schedules. Some choose to retire early to reclaim privacy, personal freedom, or a more normal lifestyle. Burnout from competition. Superstars are accustomed to extreme competition. Every game is high stakes. Over time, the mental toll of constant winning and defending titles can lead to fatigue, prompting retirement to escape constant pressure. Injury recurrence fears. Even after recovery, fear of re-injury can affect performance and confidence. Superstars may retire to avoid risking severe setbacks that could permanently damage health or mobility. Team dynamics and dysfunction. Sometimes the team environment becomes toxic. Coaching changes, locker room conflicts, or lack of support can make continuing undesirable. Leaving early is a decision to avoid further frustration and negative experiences. External opportunities. Superstars often face opportunities outside basketball: broadcasting, coaching, business ventures, or entrepreneurship. These options can be more appealing than prolonging a physically demanding career. Personal fulfillment and satisfaction. Finally, some superstars retire because they feel fulfilled. Championships won, records set, personal goals achieved. The desire to continue fades once they have accomplished what matters most to them personally. Early retirement, in this sense, is not loss, but self-determined success. The pressure of legacy. The desire to maintain a pristine legacy can lead to early retirement. Some players fear that declining performance or public failures could overshadow previous accomplishments. Loss of motivation. Even elite athletes can face periods where the spark fades. The repetition of training, games, and travel can create a sense of monotony. Without internal drive, continuing becomes a struggle. The rise of younger competitors. The emergence of younger talent can create internal and external pressure. A superstar may feel eclipsed or challenged, leading to early retirement rather than facing a gradual decline in role and prominence. Health concerns. Beyond injury, long-term health considerations, such as heart conditions, chronic joint issues, or other medical risks, influence decisions. Superstars may prioritize long-term well-being over a few more seasons of play. Disillusionment with the game. Superstars often enter the NBA with passion and idealism. Over time, factors like politics, unfair officiating, or team dysfunction can breed frustration, making continued play emotionally taxing. Even elite athletes can face periods where the spark fades. The repetition of training, games, and travel can create a sense of monotony. Without internal drive, continuing becomes a struggle. The NBA sells dreams of endless glory. But every player knows the truth. The clock always wins. Some leave early by choice. Others are forced out by pain, pressure, or politics. But no matter the reason, every early retirement carries the same emotion: love for a game that's no longer sustainable. When fans see a superstar disappear too soon, they mourn what could have been. But for the players, it's often about survival, finding balance, healing, or simply reclaiming control of their lives. Because behind every early goodbye is a story of sacrifice, resilience, and the cost of greatness.